this oddly immobile reptile isn't looking for a belly rub?
Who's a good boy? You are!
It's the hognose snake, which survives in the wild by tricking every predator around it into thinking it's dead. If we were handing out awards for most over-the-top performance by a fanged animal, we'd have a definite winner here. Why is the hognose always doing impressions of a cobra? Do people really keep these things in their home? What stomach-churning extremes is it capable of to convince attackers it has passed into the great beyond? Although it can vary in appearance and size depending on where you find it across North America and central Mexico, there is always one distinct physical trait no matter where you see one. It's this upturned snout from which the hognose gets its name. When it comes to digging burrows beneath rocky earth or sand, nothing beats a built-in shovel to help with the heavy moving. But it's the above-ground theatrics, the 3 species of hognose snake, some of which can grow over a meter in length, is famous for. When cornered by a fox, raccoon, or even another snake, such as the cottonmouth, it has no problem borrowing survival tactics from other animals. First comes the impersonation portion of the defense routine. Like a cobra, it has a wide neck that can be flattened to create an ominous-looking fleshy hood. It will strike a fearsome pose, puffing itself out while hissing and faking a few aggressive moves. For a real cobra, this is a sign to its prey that they're in for some serious trouble. For the hognose, it's just posturing. Despite being equipped with fangs and venom that can immobilize prey such as lizards, rodents, and toads, a hognose attack doesn't mean instantaneous doom for its victim. Because its fangs are located near the back of its mouth, rather than a piercing bite, its prey should be more worried about being chewed on. Compared to other snakes that release deadly venom directly through their fangs, the hognose's trickles down the outside, requiring it to open wide and keep its prey in place until its milder venom can kick in. This means as far as self-defense goes, it's at a major disadvantage. Thankfully, violence isn't the answer to everything. This snake has mastered the fine art of thanatosis, or the ability to play dead. Grabbing a page from the Possum Strategy Guide for faking your own death, a belly-up approach is taken as a last resort if an aggressor isn't scared off by the initial physical performance. It's used by animals that can't rely on the traditional fight or flight blueprint, and is something the hognose has added a few, how should we say this, signature touches to. Starting with some awkward slithering on the ground, it inevitably results with a flip onto the back. With its mouth open, the tongue will make an appearance, hanging out in dramatic fashion. The hognose goes that extra step by vomiting on itself. If that weren't disturbing enough, it's not above throwing some of its own feces into the mix. To make matters worse for any would-be attacker, this feces is often laced with bufotoxin, which it's immune to thanks to the toads it eats being full of the stuff and a natural tolerance being built up. The vomit, the stench, the toxic poop. It's usually enough to send anything looking at the hognose as a meal on its way, and fast. Despite all this, hognose snakes are still kept as pets and can live up to 20 years in captivity, more than double its lifespan in the wild. Because the odds of them feeling threatened while living the terrarium life are low, odds are good their owner will never witness their snake's playing dead talents, which is quite disappointing. And hognose venom might be effective on animals, but it's almost harmless to humans, and rarely even injected if a bite does occur. It's the exact opposite for pythons, some of which are known for swallowing humans whole. Unfortunately, these snakes are still a threatened species in some areas due to habitat loss and the introduction of invasive species into their ecosystems. They're nature's greatest pretenders and aren't above smearing themselves in their own filth. That's what hognose snakes do, and that's what makes them crazy creatures.